Satisfy your need for happiness through your own curiosity with the Ranveer Show.
I have a great love and passion for mantras from a very young age. But one of the most, I would say, beautiful things that mantras can do for you. Like, I know you also love mantras and you've spoken about, you had different people, wonderful people come and share about mantras in the podcast, that it says in the scriptures, manana trayate iti mantra. Now, mantras are those sounds or vibrations that by repeating them, they can take you beyond the mind, they can transform your mind. But why is it? Because this conditioning, when we talk about karma, it's a very abstract things for people maybe, but these are the seed impressions. But then you say, okay, so from past lives or whatever, you've taken some of this conditioning with you. But then how does that affect your life? You go to an astrologer, they'll say, oh, probably this is happening or that was happening or this will happen. But how is that? It doesn't, it's very strange. How can these impressions in your consciousness affect your life like that? Because that conditioning that we carry, in the end, that is the root cause for the thoughts coming up, the qualities of the thoughts coming up. So say you're a very intuitive person, you're extremely smart, and you're very blessed that out of 10 choices, you will always make the best choice. No? Let's say you are like that. Now, I give you 10 options. You will choose the best one. But if all 10 are different types of poison, you will choose the best one, but you still end up with poison. And if someone is a total, well, forgive my language, but an idiot, like he's really not smart, he's very unlucky, he will always choose the worst option. But if I give him 10 different types of cake, nice pastry, he will take the worst one, but it's still nice pastry. So if you look at your life, anybody, we act on our thoughts. You get a thought and that is why you do an action. Now, when you become more aware, of course, spiritual practices really help with that. Your awareness increases. You start having a choice that, okay, do I want to act on this thought or not? Some people are on autopilot. Whatever thought comes, they will do it. Then you become more aware. Then you say, okay, is this a good thought or not? Is this something that I want? Like right now, I feel like slapping this guy, but I'm not going to do it. Because either I lose my job or it's not good or whatever. I feel like eating 10 pizzas, but I know it's not good. Let me not do it. I may want to stay up all night binge watching this thing on Netflix, but I know I have to work tomorrow. I have an important presentation. So maybe only till 2 o'clock, So you have a choice whether you do it or not. But you still only have a choice between the thoughts that are coming up, So somewhere there is something that has prompted you to say, okay, I want to become an engineer, or I want to do a podcast, or I want to do this or that. And where are those thoughts coming from? You cannot change a thought before it comes. So if you really want to gain more freedom, if you want to have better options, then maybe the really only and best way is to change the quality of your thoughts. And that is where mantras come in, because mantras can change the quality of your thoughts. It can change your conditioning. And that is how, say, someone may have been doing a mantra for some time. So suddenly they start getting different type of thoughts, different quality thoughts. So your options have improved. So like I said, even if you have 10 options and you choose the worst one, if they're all good, that'll take you in a good direction in life.
Let me have a go at this for people who want to understand this with a little more depth. Okay, I'm trying to talk to my podcasting audience. I have a friend of mine, a mentor. He's also created a lot of series on Level Supermind. His name's Om Namah Shivay. And I've learned a tremendous amount from him. One of the earliest things he told me was that the process of meditation creates a larger distance between thought and perception. So thought is the sentence that comes up. Oh, I want to go to sleep. Oh, I want to hit this guy. Oh, I should be doing this in life. You don't know where it's coming from. Perception is like another person inside your head who's looking at those thoughts and then acting upon them or judging them and figuring out what to do. So when you're a child or when you're an animal, there's no distance between the thoughts and the perception. Get a thought, you act upon it.
Yes.
Tiger sees prey, tiger jumps. A child sees a toy, child goes towards the toy. And then as you grow older, usually there's a little distance created where you're able to see your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And then as you become more street smart, probably that distance increases. When you meditate, the distance increases tremendously.
True.
When you get into practices, it increases even more. But what I've never thought about until this conversation is about the origin points of those thoughts. they're coming out of what in my head I visualized as some dark pit.
True.
They're coming out of somewhere. And then that person in my head, which I call perception, looks at those thoughts.
Exactly.
So you're saying that when you actually get into deeper practices, that dark pit that those thoughts are coming out of actually becomes more fertile to throw up more interesting things at you.
Yeah, exactly. And it will help you burn the stuff that's not good for you. Like if we talk about spiritual practices, you're being able to burn some of the mantras even before they sprout, the seeds before they sprout. And that is how these practices are so invaluable, I would say. And, it's very interesting. I've seen people sometimes, they say they come with a problem, that they're having a health problem. They've been to so many doctors, and then, they're just not able to figure out what's wrong with them. And they tried so many things. And then they went to a good astrologer, Jyotishi, and they found out, okay, this is some part of your karma, you're facing, but there is a remedy. There is a mantra you can chant. Do this mantra, it will help you. Now, this person, he was not into spiritual stuff at all, but he was like, I've tried everything. I may as well give it a shot. So it's not like he was sitting there with full devotion, but he did it every day. Now, after 1 or 2 months, this friend of mine, the astrologer, he called up this person and he asked him, like, how are you now? He said, actually, I'm doing great. He said, oh, tell me what happened. He said, oh, it's not because of the mantra, but you know what happened? After 2 weeks, after I spoke to you, a friend of mine said that he knows a good doctor, and I thought, okay, I may as well go and see him. And I met this person, and he just saw me, and he analyzed the reports, and then he figured out exactly what was wrong, and it was a very simple thing. He gave me some, some, what do you call it, some food supplements and things like that, some vitamins, and my problem is gone now. Now, what this person did not realize is that, if we say, okay, there are certain mantra you can do as a remedy, that doesn't mean you just do the mantra and your problem gets sorted. What it does is that mantra will take away those karmas when done in the right way. And when that karmic block is gone, life will start flowing. So the thing is, for 2 years, he was meeting different doctors. Now, why suddenly he came across this guy, and that guy, that doctor, had the right thought at that moment where he saw this is your problem, and he gave him the medicine. So that is why it's difficult for people to imagine, but this conditioning, not just in us, but even in the world around us, when you're able to change, then suddenly it's like, you've done so many job interviews and suddenly you end up in the right place. Or suddenly people will feel you are the right person. So on a subtle level, there's this whole thing going on. And the spiritual practices, like mantras, which are very specific, of course, they have an impact on that level. Otherwise, you can do all the effort you do, but you may be unlucky. You may end up in the right place, but you're just too late. They just hired another guy for the position. And that is why even if you see, like in India, of course, still there is this practice, still many people do, of namakarana. Like you choose a name for the child, not just because you like it or because it was your grandmother's name, but they take the chart or they go to a pandit or an astrologer, and then they will usually suggest, okay, you start a name with this sound. That is a common practice. Why? Because our name is like the first mantra diksha. It's the first mantra you receive, because this is the thing that you keep thinking about. You keep telling people keep calling you that. So if that is chosen wisely, that can be tremendously beneficial, because the right mantra, the right name, can make sure that you're not just healthy, but you are successful in society. People respect you. Your body is strong. And in ancient times, not even in India, even in other parts of the world as well, in many cultures, there was this practice that if a child, when they're very young, keeps getting sick, they have a lot of health problems, they would start questioning that maybe they were not given the right name. And sometimes they will change the name and you will see a drastic improvement. But the thing is, like with many of these practices now, like what you're also doing with the podcast, is how do you make people aware of the quality stuff? Because meditation also, every street corner now you can learn something, doesn't mean it's really meditation. So with this namakarana, what I've seen is that usually what they do, they take the birth star, like your Janma Nakshatra. And based on that, there are some letters. They say, okay, start your name with Va, Vi, Vu or something like that. That's what most people do. Because people ask me also, can you help me with a name? Or a Pandit suggested this, is it good? The thing is, if we look at those in ancient times also that had access to the top-notch astrologers, let's say we take Lord Rama, Sri Ram. Now, his name was given by the family guru, Vasishta himself, Brahma Rishi, grandfather of Parashara, one of the greatest Jyotishis. Now, Lord Rama's nakshatra was either Pusha or Punarvasu, and based on that, there are some letters that come. It's like Ko, K, and then Ha, He, Hu, like there's a bunch of them. Ra is not there. So that means they followed something different. They didn't follow this principle, And he had so much knowledge of Jyotish and all of this knowledge. If we look at Sri Krishna, his name was given by Garga Muni, again a great rishi. Now his nakshatra was Rohini. Now there also the options are Va, Vi, Vu, O. It's not R or Kr. So again, he followed something different. Jawaharlal Nehru, for example, his name was given by the Raj Jyotishi of Khaitri that plays there. So again, very knowledgeable person. For him also a different thing was followed. So then if you go deeper into this, I've also started learning, it's very interesting. But then you see that they look at many other things. So if you just take that one letter based on the star, it means it will make your body strong and you'll have enough food to eat if you do it right. Doesn't mean you won't have health problems. Just means you'll survive. Doesn't mean you'll have a good place in society. Doesn't mean you'll be happy necessarily. Doesn't mean you'll spiritually advance. They say if your name can be one of the names of your Ishtadevata, then nothing like it, because that is the form of God or that universal consciousness that will take you towards mukti, towards liberation. It will take you out of bondage. So then whatever you do in life, at least you will not be going further into bondage. You'll be more free. So these are things that when you think about it, it's amazing. So that mantra, your name, if it is chosen correctly, that itself can be such a blessing. And in this, I'll not even say country, this subcontinent, this Bharat, they had this kind of knowledge with these sanskaras where they say, okay, at every important intersection of your life, where there is a transformation, whether it's you getting a name, the first time you're eating the food, Annaprashan they call it, when you get married or when you start your education, if it's done in the right way, they say it increases the sadhak tattva, it will help you to progress further, it will support your journey, and it will remove the badak tattva, it will remove the obstacles. And the goal was self-realization, freedom, full blossoming of the potential of human existence, of our consciousness. So when you consciously do those things, it makes all the difference. And that is also why I feel it's so beautiful that this knowledge is in many ways becoming a little more well-known now. There are so many people who want to know about it, because it's not just for India. The whole world needs these things if people want to be happy, healthy, successful, and get along.
If you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out these curated playlists that we've made especially for you related to the subject that was spoken about in this clip.